Good morning. Today we'll be studying the 7th chapter of Hilchot Shevitat Yom Tov. And this chapter is going to speak about the different prohibited transformative melachot, transformative types of work during Hullo Shel Moed, and the exceptions. As we'll see, there are 5 exceptions to the prohibition of melacha on Hol HaMoed. Hilchot Shevitat Asor Yom הלכות שביתת יום טוב, פרק ז', הלכה א'. חולו של המועד, אף על פי שלא נאמר בו שבתון, הואיל ונקרא מקרא קודש, והרי הוא זמן חגיגה במקדש, אסור בעשיית מלאכה, כדי שלא יהיה בשאר ימי החול שאין בהם קדושה כלל. Despite the fact that Hol HaMoed, the Torah did not say about it that it is Shabbaton, like Yom Tov, which implies complete rest. It was because it was called Mikra Kodesh, or a sacred convocation or a sacred assembly, and it was a celebratory time in the Beit HaMikdash that they would offer the Korban Hagigah. It is prohibited, Melacha is prohibited, or transformative work, as we define in the Chot Shabbat, is prohibited on Hullo Shel Moed. And the purpose of it is for us not to treat Hol HaMoed as if it is simply a regular day that has no sanctity attached to it. And anyone who does one of the prohibited melachot, he receives lashes for violating a rabbinic prohibition, as its prohibition is rabbinic. However, not every type of transformative work is prohibited on Hol HaMoed as it is on Yom Tov, שסוף העניין בדברים שנאסרו בו כדי שלא יהיה כיום חול לכל דבר, because the goal of the things that were prohibited on Hol HaMoed was for us not to regard Hol HaMoed as a weekday in every respect. לפיכך יש מלאכות אסורות בו ויש מלאכות מותרות. Therefore, there are certain prohibitions, certain transformative work that are prohibited and certain transformative work that are permissible. ואלו and they are the following. הלכה ב' כל מלאכה שאם לא יעשה אותה במועד יש שם הפסד הרבה עושים אותה. Any מלאכה that if it is not done on Hol HaMoed, there will be a great monetary loss. It is the מלאכה may be done. ובלבד שלא יהיה בו טורח הרבה. Assuming, provided this melacha doesn't involve excess labor. Ketzad, how so? Mashkin bet hashelahin b'moed, aval lo bet hamashke. An irrigated field may be watered, however, a field watered by rain may not be watered. She'im lo yashke bet hashelahin v'hi haaretz hatzeme'ah yipasedu kol ha'ilanot shebah. Because if a person does not water an irrigated field, all of the produce and property will be damaged. However, when a person does go and water an irrigated field, he shouldn't take a bucket from a pool or from a place where rainwater is gathered and go around and water the plants, because it is excessive work, because to take a bucket and to go around watering the plants and then to go back and fill up the bucket again would really be excessive on Yom Tov, and we don't want a person to work too hard. However, a person may water his produce from a spring. If it was old or new, it doesn't matter, and any spring is fine. But the way to do it is to continue the flow of water from the spring into his field, thereby reducing his effort and toil on the moed. So too anything of this sort. And back in the day when they would make olives, they would turn the olives over, in order for the olives to become soft. And the way they would become soft is if And basically the way they would do it is that they would flip the olives in order for the heat, them not to get too hot and for them to harden up. So by flipping the olives, they would get cooler and they would become soft. So a person is allowed to do this procedure and turn over the olives on Chol HaMoed. And he can crush them, and he may press them, and he can fill up the barrels with oil, with olives, or with oil. And he can cork these barrels just as he would do on a regular day. As anything that any melacha that there would be a great monetary loss if it would not be done, a person does not need to do shinui and can do it as he would on a regular day. So too a person may bring in his fruits or produce inside the house if he was afraid that robbers would take it. However, he must do so privately and subtly and not show off too much. A person may take flax out from being soaked. Back in the day, they would soak flax in order to make clothing, in order for it not to be ruined. So to a vineyard or grapevines that the time to harvest the grapes came, one may harvest the grapes on Chol HaMoed. ואסור לאדם שהתכוון ויאחר מלאכות אלו וכיוצא בהן ויניחן כדי לעשותן במועד מפני שהוא פנוי. And Rambam gives a qualification that it is prohibited for a person to purposely push off certain melachot and leave them purposefully for him to do on Chol HaMoed just so he can do them because he's available now and he's not working. וכל המכוון מלאכתו והניחה למועד ועשה במועד בדין מאבדין אותה ומפקירין אותה לכל. However, if a person did purposefully push off certain melachot that he could have done and left them purposefully to do on Chol HaMoed, and he did it on Chol HaMoed, Bedin, the court, can strip away his ownership from whatever asset we're talking about that he left to do the melacha on Chol HaMoed, and Bedin can actually make the asset ownerless and free for anyone to take. However, if a person intentionally delayed doing a melacha, but he passed away during the moed and didn't do the melacha, and konsin benu acharav, we don't punish or penalize his son, and we don't strip away his assets, the asset that was left for a melacha to be done to it on Chol HaMoed, and we don't prevent the son from doing the melacha that his father intentionally left to be done in order for him not to avoid a loss. Anyone who needed to sew some type of garment or to build some type of building on Chol HaMoed. If he was an unskilled or uncrafted person and wasn't quick in doing that type of melacha, he may do it as he would ordinarily do it. However, if he was a craftsman and he would be able to do the melacha quick, faster than a regular person, he would do it the same way and the same speed an unskilled person would do it. Ketzad, how so? If he was sewing, he should not stitch continuously as an expert would. If it was a melacha, if we're talking about a building type of melacha, he should place the rocks but not put mortar on them. If there are cracks in the floor, one may seal them with his hand or with his foot, just as one would smooth them with a tool called a mahalatzayim that they would use back in the day to smooth different cracks in the floor. הלכה ו' מי שהייתה לו תבואה מחוברת לקרקע, anyone who had produce that was connected to the ground, ואין לו מה יאכל במועד אלא ממנה, and he didn't have anything to eat on חול המועד, except for that produce that was still connected to the ground. אף על פי שאין כאן הפסד, אין מצריכין אותו לקנות מה יאכל מן השוק עד שיקצור אחר המועד. אלא, קוצר ומעמר ודש וזורע ובורר וטוחן מה שהוא צריך, ובלבד שלא ידוש בפרות. Despite the fact that here there isn't necessarily a monetary loss, we don't compel a person to go who doesn't have what to eat on the Moed to go to the market and to delay his harvest until after the Moed. Rather, we allow this person to reap, to pile his bundles, to thresh, to winnow, and to sort and to grind whatever he needs from the field. And this is all assuming that he does not thresh using cows. Back in the day, the way they would thresh with cows is that they would have a threshing floor with a lot of wheat on the floor, and they would have a cow and attach some type of heavy object to the back of the cow, like a threshing board or something of the sort, and they would have the cow walk around the threshing floor, and by doing so, it would the wheat would now be threshed, and the seeds would come out of the wheat. So threshing with cows is prohibited on Chol HaMoed. שכל דבר שאין בו הפסד צריך לשנות וכן כל כיוצא בזה. So because there isn't a loss involved here, and this is only for a person that doesn't have what to eat, and again there isn't really a loss involved, he has to do a shinui. Therefore, he doesn't eat thresh using cows, and so to anything of this sort. כבשים שהוא יכול לאכול מהם במועד כובשים. Any pickled foods that can be eaten on the moed may be pickled. ושאינן ראויין אלא לאחר המועד אסור לכובשן. However, pickled foods that wouldn't be ready for one to eat on חול המועד, it's prohibited to pickle them on חול המועד. בצד אדם דגים כל שיכול לצוד, ומולח הכל במועד, שהרי אפשר שיאכל בהן במועד, אם יסחוט אותן בידו פעמים רבות, עד שיתרככו. A person may go and hunt fish on חול המועד, and he can do meliha on for all, and he can do meliha for anything on Chol HaMoed, because it is possible for for the fish and for the meat that he's salting to be eaten on Chol HaMoed, and as if he squeezes this type of fish. Okay, sorry, we're not talking about meat. Obviously, meat is allowed to be salted, but here we're talking about this fish that they would salt back in the day on Chol HaMoed, because they were edible if you would squeeze them repeatedly and make them soft, and they would eat this type of fresh, raw, salted fish. One may brew beer on Chol HaMoed for the purposes of Chol HaMoed. However, if it was not for the Moed, it is prohibited. So date beer and barley beer are both permissible, and this is despite the fact that a person may have older beer there. One may act subtly and drink from this new beer that he brewed, because an onlooker wouldn't notice, and this type of harama is permitted. And so to anything of this sort. הלכה ח' כל מלאכות שהן לצורך המועד, כשעושים אותן אומניהן עושים בצנעה. Any מלאכה that is done for the purposes of the moed, when the craftsman would do them, they must be done in private. Ketzad, how so? הציידים והטוחנים והבוצרים למכור בשוק, הרי אלו עושים בצנעה לצורך המועד. Any hunters or grinders or grape pickers that would typically sell in the market, if they needed to do any of these things, they should do it in private for the purpose. And again, this is assuming they would need it for the purposes of the mu'ed. However, if these expert would do one of these things for not for the purposes of the mu'ed, it would be prohibited. However, if it was if they did it one of these things on Hol Moed, so if they would go and hunt or grind or pick grapes for the purposes of the Moed, and they had excess and extra, it is permitted. Notice the Harambam here doesn't allow any type of ha'arama for a craftsman to do any of his work, not for the purposes of the Moed. Halachatet, another exception of work of melachat for the purposes of Hol Moed. Halachatet, osin kol tzorechei harabim lamoed. Now Harambam here doesn't raise any qualms. All public needs are attended to on Hol Moed. Ketzad, how so? Metakenin kilkulei hamayim sheberishut harabim. Waterways or bridges that are damaged may be fixed on Hol Moed that are in the public domain. Umtakenin et haderachin ve'et harechavot, and the streets and roads may be paved or fixed. V'chofrin lerabim borot shihin arot, and cisterns and ditches may be dug for the public. V'chorin lahen neharot kedei sheyishtu memehen. We dig streams or bodies of water in order for people to drink from them. V'chonsin mayim levorot u'ma'arot shel harabim takinin et tzidkehen, and we stream in. We help water stream in, so we dig a type of ditch in order for water to stream into a gathered place for people to drink from it, and we close up any holes or anything that may let the water out. And we remove thorns from the roads. And we measure mikveh. Should they call me at different types of mikveh? We measure the mikveh in order for it to have the minimum amount of water, which is 40 se'ah, as we'll see in Hilchot Mikvaot. Bechol mikveh shenimtza chaser margilin mayim umashlimim shi'uro. And any mikveh that we find that has less of the water necessary for the mikveh, water is let into it, and we bring it up to the minimum amount needed for it to be considered a mikveh kasher. Messengers of the court may be sent out to declare a field of kilayim as ownerless. And kilayim is a Torah prohibition, which one would plant certain mixed seeds. So anyone who does this and maintains a field of kilayim and doesn't listen to Beit Din when Beit Din tells them originally to remove it, Beit Din has the ability to make that field hefker as a penalty. Ufodin et hashevuyim, and we redeem captives on the moed. Et ha'arachin. So arachin are certain vows that a person would make to give the value of a person. Ve'et haramim, and haramim are certain devoted items. It's a type of hikdesh. There are two types of haramim, haramei shamayim, that were given to the maintenance of the Beit HaMikdash, and haramei kohanim that were given to the kohanim. Beit HaMikdashot, certain things that were designated to give to the Beit HaMikdash by a person. Umashkinat sotot, and back in the day, when the Beit HaMikdash was still around, they would have this ceremony called sotah. Anyone who isn't familiar, it's basically when a husband would suspect his wife of adultery, and the wife would be taken to the Beit HaMikdash, and she would drink some type of drink to check if she was cheating on her husband or not. Besorfinat hapara, and we burned the para aduma in order to release people from to change people's status from tememet to not tememet. Ve'orfinat ha'igla, if a dead person was found in between two cities, there would be a ceremony that the Beit Din would go and cut the head of a calf in between the two cities as a type of kapara for this person that was found dead in between the two cities. Ve'rotz'in eved ivri, and we pierce an eved ivri's ear if he wished to stay longer than 6 years with his master. Mdaharin et hametzorah, and we purify the metzorah to complete his tahara process. And we remark graves that were erased because of the rain, so that the kohanim would not happen to walk in a place that there are dead bodies there. As all of these things are essentially public needs. Halacha Yod Aleph. Bedanin dine mamonot, bedine makot, bedine nefashot b'moed, and we adjudicate civil cases, also cases that have to do with lashes, and we also adjudicate death cases or capital punishment on the moed. And anyone who did not accept the adjudication or the verdict of a case, he may be excommunicated on Chol HaMoed. And just as we adjudicate on the moed, we also write court documents of the Beit Din and anything that the court may need. Ketzad, how so? כותבים הדיינים איגרות שום ששמו לבעל חוב. The Beit Din may write valuation documents that for the purposes of a creditor. ואיגרות שמכרו בהן למזון האישה והבנות. And if back in the day that they would write certain documents that the Beit Din would write that if a person died, okay, Beit Din would write a certain document that would sell the assets of the deceased for to his now widowed and children, so that they may live off of these assets. V'shitre halitza u'meunin, and documents of halitza, and me'una, that halitza is that if someone did not want to do yibum, there was a certain process that the woman would spit and take off her shoe to the individual that would refuse to do the yibum. And me'unin is a girl who was an orphan from her father, and her mother or her brother married her off. That these kiddushim are not kiddushim mideoraita, because she was still a minor, and whenever she wants, she may leave the marriage and refuse to be with her husband, and she can leave the marriage without getting a get. So to anything that the judges would need to write down in order to remember. For example, certain arguments of the various litigants, or certain agreements that were made, that so and so, that I accept so and so as my witness, or ish piloni yadunoti, or so and so should adjudicate my case. Someone that needed to take out a loan and the loaner did not believe that he would pay. One may write, in this case, a contract for the loan may be written. So to divorce documents and marriage documents may be written on Chol Moed. V'shovrin matanot, and deeds of gifts may also be written on Chol Hamoed. And again, all of these items are for the purposes of the public. It is prohibited to write on Chol Hamoed, and this is pretty relevant today. I'm not sure what the deen would be in terms of simply. No, we'll see. Harambam, I think, will explain it in the following halachot. It is prohibited to write on Chol Hamoed, even writing Sifrei Torah, Tefillin, and Mezuzot are prohibited. And back in the day, when the Beit HaMikdash was still around, they would have a Sefer Torah in the Beit HaMikdash that was placed in the Azara that was the most accurate Sefer Torah around, and based on this Sefer Torah, they would correct other books that were in question. So one may not even go and check to correct one letter by checking the Sefer Torah and the Azara, as this is a melacha that is not needed for the purposes of the Moed, meaning correcting and checking the letter. However, a person may write tefillin or mezuzah for himself. Notice that Harambam here did not include a Sefer Torah for himself, and it seems the Magid Mishneh offers a possible reason that tefillin and mezuzot may be done in a short amount of time. However, a Sefer Torah would take a very lengthy amount of time. And someone may dye techelet for his garment. And if a person does not have what to eat, he may write and sell whatever he is writing in order to provide himself with what he needs for the moed. However, one exception to this exception to the exception to this a prohibition of writing is that one may write a letter to a friend on the moed. Person may write down one's account and calculate certain expenses. As these types of writings, a person isn't careful in the way he writes it or in their form. And it is equivalent to doing unprofessional work in terms of writing regularly. So, for example, taking notes in a shiur Torah over Chol Hamoed would probably be permissible because one isn't careful necessarily of how they write, and anything and any casual type of writing seems to be permitted. We do anything required for the deceased on the moed, and this is another exception to the prohibition of doing melacha. We cut the deceased's hair, and we wash the deceased garment, and we make for the deceased a coffin. And if there weren't planks to make the coffin, we bring in wooden beams and make planks in private inside the house for the deceased. And if it was a famous person, we may make these planks in the public or in the market, as everyone who's watching knows why we're making planks, because for this important person that passed away. However, we don't go around and chop trees from the forest in order to make planks for the coffin. And we don't quarry stones to make a tomb for the deceased. One may not inspect certain skin orders that may turn out to be tzara'at on Chol Hamoed. Because if we do allow one's skin disorders that may turn out to be tzara'at to be inspected, it may very well be that a person may become tameh, and his hag may all of a sudden turn into a mourning, because back in the day when the Beit HaMikdash was around, a person who had tzara'at and was found, and his skin was, a person who had a skin disorder that looked like tzara'at, and it was inspected, and the Kohen declared that this skin disorder was in fact tzara'at, the Metzorah would now have to leave the camp or leave the city for 7 days at least, and would not be able to spend time with his family during the Mu'ed and do any of the things that we talked about in the previous chapter of enjoying the Mu'ed. And we don't marry women on Chol Moed, and we don't do Yibum on the Moed. So that the happiness and enjoyment of the Hag won't be combined and mixed in with the marriage of the happiness and enjoyment of the marriage. However, one may remarry his divorced wife on the Moed. As we talked about, there are two steps of a wedding ceremony in Jewish law. One is Erusin, that a man designates a certain woman for him. This is also called Kiddushin, and she is considered at this point to be an Eshet Ish. However, this woman still lives in the house of her parents. The second stage is Kiddushin, which is when the second stage is Nisu'in, rather. This is when the woman goes to live from her parents' house with her new husband. Today we do the Kiddushin and Nisu'in ceremony as one during the wedding ceremony. So Aresin Nashin B'Moed, one may betroth and do this Irusin slash Kiddushin on the Moed. And this is all under the condition that a person doesn't do a festive meal in honor of the Irusin or for the Kiddushin, so that the happiness, so that another type of happiness won't be combined and mixed with the happiness of the Hag. Halacha Yod Zayin. Now this is something extremely relevant to today. And halacha l'maaseh may vary based on certain situation, and we'll see there are certain situations in which the following prohibitions are allowed. Shaving and laundry is prohibited on Chol Moed. Gezerah shema yeshe adam atzmo letoch Moed v'yavo yom tov harishon v'hu menuval. Because a person may postpone shaving or doing laundry to do it on the Moed, on Chol Moed, and he'll approach and come into Yom Tov while he's unkempt, with his unshaven face or his undone laundry. לפיכך, כל מי שאי אפשר לו לגלח או לכבס בערב יום טוב, הרי זה מותר לכבס ולגלח. Therefore, however, anyone who did not have the ability to shave or to launder his clothes on the eve of Yom Tov, this type of individual may shave or do laundry on the Moed. Yod Zayin, Ketzad. Second. Ketzad, how so? אבל שחל שביעי שלו להיות ביום טוב, או שחל להיות בערב יום טוב, והרי הוא שבת, שאי אפשר לגלח. Someone whose seventh day of mourning falls out on Yom Tov, and a mourner is prohibited from shaving or getting a haircut. Sorry, a mourner is prohibited from shaving and laundering his clothes during the first 7 days of Avelut. So if a mourner's seventh day of mourning falls out on Yom Tov or Erev Yom Tov, which happens to be Shabbat, which as a result of this, he won't have the ability to shave. So to someone who is coming from a journey from across, from overseas. And this is assuming that this individual didn't just go for a tourist trip, rather he went overseas for business. So to anyone who was released from prison, and someone who was excommunicated, and they brought him back and released him from his excommunication status on the Moed. And so to someone who made a vow not to shave or to launder his clothes, and only asked the Chacham to release him from this vow only on the Moed. In all of these cases, these types of individuals are allowed to shave and to launder their clothes on Chol HaMoed. הלכה י"ח בכולן שהיה להן פנאי לגלח קודם הרגל ולא גילחו. And anyone who hold on. Okay. בכולן שהיה להן פנאי לגלח קודם הרגל ולא גילחו אסורין. And if any of these people had the time to cut their hair, to shave before the Moed, and they did not shave, these types of people are prohibited from shaving. אבל הנזיר והמצורע שהגיע זמן תגלחתן, a nazir is someone who made a neder for a certain amount of time not to shave or to cut his hair. And the mitzorah is that someone who had tzaraat and was healed from his tzaraat must shave during whenever his tzaraat goes away, and he is therefore allowed to shave on the Moed. Again, so a nazir and a mitzorah, his time arrived for him to shave. Ben b'toch haMoed, ben kodem haregel, אף על פי שהיה להם פנאי, מותרים לגלח במועד, שלא ישהו קורבניהם. Both of these types of people have to bring a korban and cannot bring a korban unless they cut their hair or shave. So if the time that they have to shave or cut their hair fell out on the Moed or prior to the Moed, even though they may have had time to shave, they are allowed to shave on the Moed in order for their korban not to be delayed, as the Nazir and the Mitzorah bring a korban after he is healed from his tzarat. Anyone who becomes tahor from his status of tum'ah, may also shave on the Moed. Back in the day, they would cut a kid's hair that was newly born. So a kid that was born either on Chol HaMoed or before the Moed, his hair may be cut on the Moed. ואנשי משמר ששלמה משמרתן בתוך המועד מותרים לגלח, מפני שאנשי משמר אסורים לגלח בשבת שלהן. Back in the day when the Beit HaMikdash was around, the Kohanim would be split into 24 mishmarot, or work or cycles, that they would be on duty for doing the avodah in the Beit HaMikdash. So anyone whose duty was terminated during Chol HaMoed, are allowed to cut their hair and shave on Chol HaMoed, because they were, during the week that they were on duty, they were prohibited from cutting their hair and shaving. הלכה כ' מותר ליטול שפה בחולו של המועד וליטול ציפורניים ואפילו בכלי. Someone may trim their mustache on Chol HaMoed and to cut their nails on Chol HaMoed, even by using a type of tool or utensil. ומעברת האישה שיער מבית השחי ובתערבה בין ביד בין בכלי. A woman may remove hair from her armpits or from her private parts during with her hand or with a kli. ועושה כל תכשיטיה במועד, and they may use all types of cosmetics and makeup on the מועד. כוחלת ופוסקת ומעברת שרק על פניה וטופלת עצמה בסיד וכיוצא בו, והוא שתוכל לקלפו במועד. She may use eyeliner, and she also may curl her hair and put some type of red powder or blush on her face. And she can smear, back in the day, women would smear lime on certain parts of their body to remove hair. So this is allowed to be done on Chol HaMoed. And this is all assuming she can peel it off and wash it off on Chol HaMoed. Halacha Chaf Aleph. Hazavin v'hazavot v'anidot v'yeladot. Anyone who had some type of emission, or a woman who was menstruating, or a woman who gave birth, and anyone else who may become tahor from their tum'ah status on Chol HaMoed, all of these people may launder their clothes. And so to someone who only has one garment to wear, he may launder it on Chol HaMoed. mitpehot hayadayim, hand towels, mitpahot hasefarim, and certain cloths or towels that they would wrap books and Sifrei Torah, mitpahot hasipug, certain towels that they would use, hara'il mutarin lechabez, are all allowed to be washed and laundered on Chol HaMoed. V'chen kedei fishtan mutar lechabesan b'moed, so too linen garments may be laundered on Chol HaMoed. Because linen garments need to be washed pretty constantly, even if one may wash them on Chol HaMoed, even if they were washed right before Chol HaMoed. Now we're going to get into the topic of commerce, and if it's permissible or prohibited to work and do commerce on Chol HaMoed, something again pretty relevant to us nowadays. And doing commerce is prohibited on Chol HaMoed. Ben limkor ben liknot, both buying and selling. However, if there was some type of rare opportunity that won't be around after Chol HaMoed, kegon sefinot, for example, certain ships that came from afar, or shayarot sheba'u, or caravans that came, or she'en mevakeshin latzet umacheru bezol or lakihu beyoker, or that someone was pressed to leave and they were selling for cheap or buying for a lot. From these types of people, it is permissible to buy and to sell to them. However, it is prohibited to buy a house and certain stones and servants and animals only for what a person would need for the Moed. Halacha Chav Gimel. Mochere perot kesut v'chelim. Anyone who is a seller of fruit, of garments, and of certain types of utensils or bowls or plates, mochrin betzin'ah l'tzorach hamoed, may be sold in private for the purposes of the Moed. Ketzad, how so? Im hayata hanut petucha lezavit o lemavui, if a store was open towards a corner or an alleyway, poteach kedarko, one may open as he would ordinarily do it. Im hayata petucha l'rishut harabim, however, if the store was open to the public domain, poteach achat v'no'el achat, one may open one door but close and lock the other door. Ve'erev yom tov ha'acharon shel Chag HaSukkot, however, on the eve of the last day of Sukkot, which is considered a Chag within itself, one should go out and decorate the marketplace with fruits in order to give honor and respect to the holiday. Those who sell spices may sell as they would ordinarily sell in public, because people that would buy spices these spices would be used for Chol HaMoed. People don't typically buy spices to simply store them and to use for months in the future. Rather, people who buy spices usually use them because they need it on that day. כ"ד כל שאסור לעשותו במועד אין אומר לגוי לעשותו. Anything that is prohibited for oneself to do on Chol HaMoed, it is prohibited to tell a goy to do it. וכל שאסור לעשותו במועד, אם אין לו מה יאכל, הרי זה עושה כדי פרנסתו. Anything that is prohibited for a person to do on Moed. However, if a person was in a dire situation and didn't have what to eat, he may do and provide himself with whatever he needs for the Moed. וכן עושה סחורה כדי פרנסתו, so too he may do commerce to sustain himself, again, for what he needs for חול המועד. ומותר לעשיר לזכור פועל עני שאין לו מה יאכל לעשות מלאכה שהיא אסורה במועד, כדי שייטול שכרו להתפרנס בו. So too, a wealthy person can hire a poor person who has no food to eat to perform work otherwise forbidden to do during Chol HaMoed, in order for that poor person to earn a little bit of money and be able to maintain himself and buy whatever he needs for the Moed. Similarly, one may buy things that are not required for the Moed, even if the vendor is in need and has no food to eat. So you see the Chachamim allowed certain types of commerce in certain situation, and the rule of commerce on Chol HaMoed is not absolute at all. Halacha kafhe final halacha suchrin hasachir al hamelacha b'moed la'asota le'achar hamoed. U'bilvad shelo yishkol v'lo yimdod v'lo yimne kedei shu oseh b'chol. One may hire an employee during Chol HaMoed to do some type of work for after Chol HaMoed, provided that that person does not measure or weigh or count the materials in the normal way one would do on the Moed. The goy shekibel kibolet mi Yisrael, and a goy that was that if the goy contracted someone else to do work for another Yehudi, afilu haya chutz latehom en meniho la'asot eno meniho la'asot b'moed she'akol yudim shemelacha zo liYisrael v'yachshedu oto shemash sachar et hagoy la'asot lo b'moed. And again, if a goy contracts another goy to do work for a Jew, that work may not be done during Chol HaMoed, even if the goy who is doing the work lives beyond the Tehom Shabbat, because everyone would know that this work is being done for the Jew, and people might suspect of him having hired the goy to do work for him during the Moed, because she'en hakol yodein hefresh sheyesh ben hasachir ben hakablan ufikach asur, because not everyone knows the difference between an employee and the contractor, therefore it is forbidden. So just to sum up, on Chol HaMoed, certain types of melacha are forbidden, certain types of melacha are permitted. Melachot that the following 5 are basically the conditions in which melacha would be permitted. If there was a large monetary loss and a person didn't purposely push off the melacha to be done on the Moed, it may be done as it would ordinarily be done and does not require a shinui. Number 2, if something was done for the Moed, an expert has to do it the way an ordinary person would do it. And if he can do it in possible, he should do it. Sorry, if he's able to do it in private, he should definitely do it in private. The third exception was if a person doesn't have what to live off of and to sustain himself on the Moed, one may do whatever he needs. 4, anything that is Torech Rabim, anything that is for the public, that the public needs. And 5, anything that must be done for a deceased person. Definitely recommend reviewing these halachot as they're extremely relevant. And Pesach is coming up pretty soon. B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow we'll do the final, 8th and final chapter of Hilchot Shevitat Yom Tov.